Welcome back to the Takeout. A new book exposes how China has carried out a long-running and very large-scale espionage campaign to undermine the United States and its allies, principally by stealing information and technology from very large multinational and American companies. Earlier, I spoke to David Shedd about his book, the title, The Great Heist, China's epic campaign to steal America's secrets. Please listen. David, we're going to get to the Great Heist in a second, but I want to live in the here and now. The President of the United States just finished a cabinet meeting that went almost 2.5 hours about the first year. Almost no mention of China at all. Is America still, structurally, conceptually, underappreciating the threat from China across a wide range of matrices?
I certainly think so. I think it's underestimating China's power. It's what we'll get into in terms of the great heist of intellectual property that has been undertaken, particularly in the last 10 to 15 years since Xi came to power in 2012. And I think that there is largely an underestimation of what China can and will do to us over time and has already done to us, with an estimated $225 billion a year up to $600 billion that is taken in the greatest wealth transfer, as General Alexander of the National Security Agency a good number of years ago said is taking place, supported by Chris Wray and the FBI and others.
And that's part of the heist that's in the title, The Great Heist.
Exactly, exactly. And it's an epic campaign on their part, undertaken particularly, like I say, in the last 10 years of Made in China 2025, in which the Chinese Communist Party identified 10 areas that they were going to be either on par with the United States and the West more generally, but the United States is at the center, or surpass us. And they have surpassed us in a number of areas as well during these 10 years.
And most Americans, when they think about China, think, well, there's something about Taiwan, and we might get in a military conflict there, or there's a trade imbalance, and those are the two issues. You argue, no, those are issues. But this theft, this systematic theft of intellectual property, and this burrowing into any American company that operates inside China is a bigger issue, or at least a peer issue.
Absolutely. I mean, the fact is that our Fortune 500,000 or Fortune 1,000 companies have all experienced this in some form or another, according to the FBI, in terms of burrowing in, as you put it, in terms of it. The other aspect of it, it is much larger than the cyber aspects that I think, again, hit the headlines time and time again in terms of Chinese hackers coming in. That is undertaken as part of a much larger comprehensive approach of the Ministry of State Security, which is essentially, for your viewers and listeners, the organization that is 300,000 strong, doubled in size under Xi Jinping since 2012, and it has a capacity to now put them in the major leagues of intelligence organizations. Think of it this way. It is the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, the National Geospatial, NGA, all combined in one, in a system that has none of the values and constraints apart from what the Chinese Communist Party places on it, but not societal constraints at all.
And how much has corporate America and American trade policy aided and abetted what China wanted to accomplish?
There have been three things that really stand out, and the Great Heist brings this out in the pages of the book. The first is the attraction of an enormous market of 1.4 billion people, with the fastest growing middle class known in the history of mankind in the shortest amount of time in terms of that growth.
So many dollars to chase.
So many dollars to chase, so many products to sell, so many services to provide. So that's number one. Number two, China has structured itself to be very attractive in alluring the investor in what are known as the joint ventures, with a 51% majority Chinese, of course, never a majority for the non-Chinese.
Can't exist any other way.
Can't exist any other way. I can give you one exception. That was Tesla in 2019. They were given full ownership inside there with power from the top that granted it to Elon Musk when they broke ground in Shanghai in January of 2019 for Tesla production. But the vast majority are JVs in terms of doing that. And that's been an acceptable model. And thirdly, China's manufacturing capacity, which accounts for about 35% of manufacturing capabilities in the world today, is something that's very attractive from low cost of labor, capacity to deliver, and I call it sort of the 80-35 or 80-40 rule. 80% of the quality of the Western product produced by the Chinese, and getting better, by the way, and we can talk about Tesla versus BYD and the electric vehicles, and at the same time at 35 to 45% of the cost that it costs to produce it in the United States or in the West.
You can listen to the rest of my conversation with David Shedd on your favorite podcast platform.